Finally, this is the lesson where we grab everything you've learned so far and apply it into one single video. The idea is to edit a short video talking about CapCut Desktop, and I highly encourage you to go to the resources section and download all of the files you can find over there. This video is going to talk about 5 reasons why you should use CapCut for desktop. So you're going to find 6 different videos of me talking to the camera, the intro and outro are in the same file, and then the 5 reasons split into 5 different clips, and 5 other clips that are going to be the B-roll to complement everything that I'm saying to the camera. And now it's up to you to decide if you want to edit alongside me here doing the same things, or if you want to learn how to do it and then apply your own vision to this video later on. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to create a new project over here. First thing we're going to do is come to modify up here on the right, and we're going to be sure to give this a name. So I'm just going to give CapCut example video. I'm just keeping it in its original place. Ratio, we're going to do it vertical, so you can choose 9:16. Resolution is adapted, let's change it to customized and be sure that we have it at 1080 by 1920, meaning Full HD vertical. The frame rate has to be 25 because of the footage I'm providing you, and the color space has to be SDR Rec 709. If all these are good, save and we can begin. Alright, it's time to bring in all our videos, and I have them all in this folder here. I'm just gonna drag and drop them, and now we have all of our files inside here. And if you click them here on the media panel, you're gonna be able to see the preview and understand what they are. So you have the 6 talking head videos over here, and you have 5 of the B-roll videos. So the first thing you're gonna cut is the intro and outro. So you can find main shot, intro and outro, and drag it to the timeline over here. Okay, so be sure to click on the clip, come here to the panel and change it to -90 on the rotate. It's gonna have the right orientation now, and just grab here one of the handles and let it snap to the corner, and perfect. Now always when recording there's gonna be mistakes and you're gonna try new takes on saying something a little bit differently, and that's the case for this video over here, where you're gonna see that I repeat the same sentence. Fifth is the best, fifth is the best, the fifth one is the best. 3 times. We have to keep only one, of course. The other ones I've trimmed already to make it a little bit easier for you. So let's listen it from the beginning. So come here, let me tell you not 1, but 5 reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for desktop. Fifth is the best. So the way that I prefer to cut this kind of videos is seeing very clearly the waveform so that I can know when there was a pause and when I was actually talking. And to do that with CapCut with this small waveform here, it's very difficult for me. So I prefer to right click and go to separate audio. Now it's very clear where do we have to cut. And the first part is this one. So come here, let me tell you not 1, but 5 reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for desktop. This first part is perfect, so we have to cut over here. There are 2 ways of doing it. You can press B and come here and cut both audio and video, and now we have 2 different parts of the same video and audio. Or I can just Ctrl Z, go back, and I can just put the cursor here, the playhead here, and go with Ctrl Shift B, and then it's gonna cut both of them the same way, cuts audio and video at the same time. Now for the second part, we just have to keep one of the takes. I'm gonna keep the last one, but you can choose which one you prefer. So I'm just gonna come up here very close when I'm talking, Ctrl Shift B again, select both of these, backspace to delete, and it's gone. And now I can zoom in a little bit using Ctrl and scroll up. And now here by the end of the sentence, we can do just the same. Ctrl Shift B, select them, delete, and that's it. Now this video is gonna have a loop, meaning that the last sentence of the video is gonna take us to the first one. So when this video plays on social, you don't even realize when it finished and it's starting again. And my idea here is to have it starting exactly when I say 5 reasons. So it's gonna be this break here. 5 reasons, but 5 reasons. So I'm just gonna cut the video over here, and this is gonna be the start. 5 reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for desktop. The 5th one is the best. Okay, so this is all the start of the video, and this part here is actually gonna be the ending. So I'm just gonna drag and drop it here by the end. So come here, let me tell you not 1, but 5. So all these parts. So come here is gonna be the last part of the video. And you probably noticed that when I dragged this, it just snapped back onto the timeline. And this is because we have this active over here, the main track magnet. And for now, I'm going to turn this off so that I can give it some space here, since this is going to be by the end. So it's clear for us what's the part that have to be by the end and which parts have to be in the beginning. Okay, So intro is done, outro is done. Let's go to the first reason. All right, let's drag this into the timeline. And now we have this. Let me separate the audio again. Let's hear it. Super easy video control, animations, positioning, zooming, using sliders or directly on the preview. Okay, so now you probably noticed two different things. The first one is that we have to do the same adjustment that we did in the first video, meaning spinning it around. So I'll just do the -90 and I'm gonna drag here and let it snap to the corner. And you notice that there's a bunch of background noise using sliders or directly on the preview. You know, the original was not like that, but I wanted to apply what you've learned so far. So to save this audio, what you can do is click here on the audio part, come here to the panel, and you can use the noise reduction to make it sound a little bit better. Super easy video control, animations, positioning, zooming, and now this is without. Video control, animations, positioning, zooming, so it's much better with. It's still not perfect, but it's much better. So let's cut this video over here, Ctrl-Shift-B. Now whenever you drag something on the timeline, you're gonna see this line pop up when you're exactly at the border with another clip. So if you leave it here, they're just gonna be perfectly together. Super easy video control, animations, positioning, zooming, using sliders or directly on the preview. Perfect. So this is the second part. Let's just snap it here to the beginning, and we got the second part ready. And just remembering, when you want to be sure that you're at the end of a clip, you can press up and down to navigate the start or the ending of any clip on the timeline. Alright, reason number 2 on the timeline right now. Let's do the same, separate audio, and we can listen. Super easy to cut, reposition, change, all organized by type of media in layers. Okay, this one is perfect already. Let's just snap it in here. Let's take the reason number 3. And whenever you're in doubt if you added something already or not, remember that you're gonna see added applied here on the media library. Separate audio. Transitions are super fast to use in preview. Let's go with the reason number 4. And now we have reason number 5. Which takes us to the 5th reason. It is completely free. Alright, so this is the end of the timeline. I'm gonna press O to set the out point over here. And I'm just gonna zoom out. And I'm gonna press I in the beginning to be sure that here's the in point. So whenever we export, we are gonna export everything that is in between, the in and the out points. Okay, so now let's be sure that all of the clips are turned correctly. This one is not. Let's repeat this for the other ones. And for this last clip, I want to do some keyframing to zoom in and out. And to do that, I'm just gonna click on the video so that the properties appear up here. I'm gonna be sure to be in the beginning of the shot around here. And I'm gonna set some keyframes. In this case, I just want some scale keyframes, so I'm gonna add one over here. Let's see. Okay, come here. So I want these now to be scaled up a little bit, like this. And it automatically sets another keyframe when you change one of the parameters. And I'm gonna leave it for a while. And here I'm gonna set another keyframe. And here I'm gonna set it back to 177, which was the initial value. So now we should have a zoom in and a zoom out. Come here, let me tell you not one, but perfect. And when you click the video over here on the timeline, you can see where are the keyframes also, so you can have a better understanding of until when the movement is gonna happen and when it's gonna come back. So you can watch here to see that it goes here and then goes back. Alright, once this is done, now it's time for us to bring in all the B-roll. And they are named B-roll reason 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's bring in reason number 1 over here. And I'm just going to position it on a higher layer so that it can cover the screen when I'm talking. Okay, so here is where the first reason ends and here is where it begins. So we have this amount of time to show something on the screen. Let's see what we have here on this. And here, as you can see on the preview, I'm just going over the properties panel, clicking on some things, and then redimensioning some stuff on the preview itself. So let's say that definitely I want some of these clicks over here. So we can start the video here by cutting using the timeline controls. Let's go until there where I begin to move the mouse. I'm going to use B and just cut the video over here. Okay, now we have a second video. We have them separately. And I'm going to bring me up to where I start to play with the footage there until we're here. Okay. So this is the amount of B-roll that I want to use. So as you can see, it's impossible to fit both of these clips on top of the talking head videos. So what we're gonna have to do here is to retime the speed of the B-roll so that we can show it a little bit faster on the screen. And to do that, there are two different ways. The first one is coming up to speed over here in the properties and just playing with how many times faster you want it to be. And you're gonna be seeing on the timeline also that now it's much smaller. But it can be difficult to time it perfectly doing like this. So what I prefer to do is to just leave it at 1x. And when you click on speed, it changed also how it looks here on the timeline. So now when you grab the mouse and you come up to here, you can actually drag it and it's going to automatically change also on the slider up there. So you can just make it time perfectly until where you want it to go. So I'm going to leave this part of the B-roll like this, and I'm going to bring on the second one, and I'm going to do the same to make it finish about here so that I can still see myself talking about it when it's over. Let's see. Super easy video control, animations, positioning, zooming, using sliders or directly on the preview. Okay, perfect. Now we just have to resize the B-roll so that it covers the screen as you want it. I'm going to make it bigger. And for this, I always like to use the preview controls because it just makes it so much faster to reposition and resize and do whatever you want. So it's just dragging and dropping and making it snap to the corners and we're good to go. Control, animations, positioning, zooming. And for this one, I'm just gonna make it bigger so that the preview panel is as big as possible here on the screen. Yes, like this looks good. Zooming, using sliders or directly on the preview. Timeline. Okay, perfect. So basically now what you're going to do is select the parts that interest you the most in the B-roll for parts 2, 3, 4, and 5 and overlay them on top of the talking head videos on the timeline here. I'm going to do it now, so let's just make it faster. Now we're here on reason 5, and this one I want to do something a little bit different than the others. Instead of just putting them on the timeline covering my talking head video, I want to put this one here, and I want to show two different parts of the same B-roll. So I want to show the preview, and I also want to show what I'm changing on the parameters. And to do that, I can simply come here, select the video and put it on the right place that I wanted, Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V to have a second version of the exact same video on top. I'm going to place them on two different layers. And I'm going to position one of them a little bit to the left. So I'm going to put maybe the parameters here on the left. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, right about here more or less, showing until the middle of the screen. And the one behind, I'm just going to put like this, and I'm going to show the preview panel over here. So when I play this now, there are some pro features, but they're more advanced and most people won't need it. You're going to be able to see both of them, but I didn't get the right parts because it's only after here where I actually start changing a little bit of the colors, and that's the interesting part to see. So yeah, it was exactly here. So I'm just going to cut it back, cut this one until the same point, bring both backwards here. Let's see now. There are some pro features, but they're more advanced and most people won't need it. All right, perfect like that. One more idea, one more thing to change. I want one of the reasons in the middle for my face to be appearing above the B-roll, but in a different way. Either a cutout, green screen effect, or maybe masking it, as we learned in the previous lessons. Let's try all of them and see which one works best here. So let's say that I want it over one of these reasons here, which is reason number 3, for example. So to have it on top, I'm going to need to get this video, which is the talking head video, and create a copy. So I'm just going to go Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. Now we have two of them. And if I place it on top here, now you don't see the B-roll anymore, you are seeing the talking head again. So let's see if it's gonna work. Let's come out here to cutout. Let's click auto cutout and see what CapCut is gonna manage to do here. And looks like it's not doing a very good job. The shirt is too mixed with the background, so it disappeared many times and we don't have much control over it, so this is not gonna work. I'm just gonna uncheck this function. So the only solution here is really to use a mask. And to do that, I'm gonna come up to mask over here, and let's do maybe a circle one. And like this, it creates a hole here that we can only see part of the footage that was behind. I'm gonna leave it around like this, gonna reposition it. Let's make it maybe oval like this and add a little bit of feathering. Okay, that looks about right. And if you go now back to basic, you can move this video all around. And I'm gonna leave it about here is okay. So let's see how it looks. Okay, that doesn't make much sense to begin over there. So I'll press up to begin in the beginning of the clip here. And I'm gonna cut it to start exactly in the same time where the B-roll begins. Transitions are super fast to use in preview. Okay, that looks good, but there's a cut here in the talking head video that I don't like to make it show. So I'm just going to cut also this. And this second part here, I'm going to move to another place on the screen. Let's see. Transitions are super fast to use in preview. And there are infinite options. Okay, and now I'm gonna cut just to the beginning of the audio here. So let's make it about here. And I'll cut also the B-roll for them both to match together. Okay, now I just want to cut a little bit of this blank space here in the middle, so I'm just gonna go Ctrl-Shift-B so that it cuts everything that is in the timeline. And here, where is exactly where the audio from the first one ends, let's zoom in a little bit and let's select all of these and delete. Now, extra trick, if you want to make everything snap back here, there are two solutions. The first one is if you come up here and you select everything rightwards, you drag everything, you come back to the cursor with A and you just drag it all until it snaps. Or one other thing you can do is just come back here and reactivate the main track magnet so that there are no gaps in the middle of the video. The moment I activate it, boom, everything snaps back. So it's an easier way for you to fix these small gaps when everything is aligned. You just created the space in between the clips. I'm gonna deactivate it again. Okay, so I think that for A row and B row, we're good here. Let's spice this edit up a little bit. Now, whenever you open the effects tab, it can be so overwhelming because there are so many options around here. So what I can recommend you is to, when you do a first project, is to go through the effects tab, take a look at everything and just save them by clicking on the star that you find whenever you hover the mouse over them. So when you click it, they're gonna appear always on the top here. So for example, I really like the camera shake, I put a star on it, it's always here. Because if every single time you're gonna go through all of the effects to try to find the right one for your videos, you're gonna lose a lot of time. Okay, so let's add this one here, a little bit of camera shake, and I wanna add also a body effect. And for that, I really like this electrical scanning. I'm gonna save it as my favorite also, and I'm gonna add it here onto the timeline. So now let's see how it looks. 5 reasons why you should be editing. Okay, looks pretty good. We're gonna adjust a couple of things, and you can see that they affect everything below as soon as the layer exists here. So this effect is gonna go through until this part here. We don't need it that much, so let's make it a little bit smaller. So first of all, let's adjust the electro-optical scanning effect. Okay, this looks pretty good. I want the camera shake to start just a little after this first effect hits. So maybe here, for example. And let's make it shorter a little bit, both of them. Let's see how this looks. 5 reasons why you should be editing. Okay, maybe a little bit before. 5 reasons why you should be editing with. Okay, and I'm gonna finish the camera shake a little bit before, also make it a little bit faster. Perfect, that looks really cool for the intro. Now, in between the different reasons on this video, I want to have some sort of transition, not to have just a direct cut in between them. So you can place the playhead exactly where there's a cut in between two different shots, come up to transitions, and just choose the one you prefer. So here I'm going to choose one of the trending ones. The pull in is usually very nice. And now it adds it here to the timeline, but not as a layer. It adds it exactly in between the two different shots. And in the timeline, you can also adjust how long is it going to be, a very short or a bit longer transition. And also you can adjust it on the slider up here on the right. Let's see how this looks. One is the best. It's way too fast. Let's make it a little bit longer. Okay, that looks pretty cool. So I'm just gonna do exactly the same for all of the other transitions in between the different reasons. I'm just gonna get here, plus. All right, perfect. So we have a transition over all the reasons. Now we're gonna do captions, but I want the first few sentences to be in a proper title. And for that, we're gonna come up to text, and I wanna go to text template. This has different templates that are already animated, and it can look very cool for the start of the video. I really like this one, so I'm gonna add a star, and I'm gonna grab it and add it to the timeline here. 5 reasons why you should be editing with. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Let's click on it, and up here on the right, we can change whatever we want. So I'm just gonna write here 5 reasons, and below I wanna change it to CapCut desktop. Scale looks good. Okay, I'm just not a big fan that the text is here in the middle of the screen in front of my face, so I'm just gonna drag it down a little bit. Let's see. Reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for desktop. All right, looks pretty good. And one thing that is gonna happen to you when you're editing is that you're gonna realize small adjustments that you can do when you're doing other stuff. Like here, for example, in which I think the cut from this first sentence to the second one is a bit too harsh without anything in the middle. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna click in the second video here, and I'm just gonna change a little bit of the zoom by clicking on the preview properly. So it almost looks like it's a camera change, but not really. CapCut for desktop. The 5th one is the best. All right, looks much better this way. Okay, time to do the captions, so let's come here to auto captions. Let's choose English Create. Okay, once it's done, let's come up here to captions, and we can check if it recognizes all the speech correctly and also change how long they're gonna be. So the first sentence, actually, I'm not gonna use because I already have the title here in place. So I'm just going to delete it by clicking here, and we're going to begin with the captions on the 5th one is the best. It's enough for me. And I'm gonna try to make them as short as possible. So I'm gonna cut it on the fifth one, is the best, super easy, video control. And I'm just gonna keep pressing enter and making another line every time there are 2 or 3 words. So let's go through it. And whenever you make a mistake and you want to go back, you can Ctrl Z, or you can select a line and press backspace so that it joins back with the upper line. Alright, done. So now it's time to edit the captions as we want it. So I'm just going to click on the first one, go to text, be sure that apply to all is here clicked. And I'm just going to adopt a style that can be easy to read in front of all these colors. So I'm going to choose another font. One thing that I like to do is increase the size of the background so that the text is not too tight inside here. So I'm going to change 50 to 55. Also the width to 55, so that now we have a little bit more space over there. Also the positioning, I like to put it a little bit higher, like -850, because of the on-screen text on Instagram, TikTok. This way you're sure that the subtitle is going to appear above all of that. Let's take a look. The fifth one is the best. Super easy video control, animations, positioning, zooming. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now stickers, there's place for one sticker here that I want to add, which is something related to money when I say that it's completely free. Let's just scroll through and try to find something that is related, like this emoji here, for example, that we can favorite and immediately add it to the timeline. Okay, let's make it as long as that subtitle, and I'm going to reposition it and make it just a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be that big, around here. Let's see, it is completely free. Okay, looks pretty good. All right, we're almost there. Just gonna add some music and some sound effects. Okay, so first sound effects we're gonna add are for the beginning here. And I've sifted through the sound effects already, and I found a couple of them that can work very well for this. And the catch here is, sometimes you don't need to find something that is specifically about what you're seeing. Like in this case, for example, we see some electricity, but I found a sound effect of a dagger that sounds really cool for this. This one. Okay, let's add it to the timeline. And it's gonna create another layer just for that. So let's put it here where the electrical effect begins. Reasons why you should be editing. All right, sounds very cool. You can lower the volume if you want by using the bar here, or the volume here on the parameters tab. Okay, this first part is good. Now I wanna add some sound effects for the transitions. And for that, there's a sound effect called whoosh. That usually works very well for this kind of stuff. I think the first one was enough. All right, let's save it. So I'm just gonna do the same for all the other transitions. I'm gonna click on the transition or as it begins, and I'm just gonna add the whoosh in all of them. And now we have something like this. The fifth one is the best. Super easy video. Looks pretty cool. All right, we're almost done. Let's try to find some music for this. And here we can try to find something cool around the vlog area. Let's see what we have. Okay, I like this one. And here where you try to find a good song for your video, you can also go saving by clicking on the star and doing the same as you did with the stickers or with the text, everything. It's just gonna keep the ones that you like on the top here. I'm just gonna add it, and it's gonna add where the playhead is. So let's move it to the right place, and it's not finishing together with the song, so we can use B and just cut it exactly here and delete the rest. Now let's hear it. It's probably going to be too loud. Reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for that. Exactly. So let's make it lower by lowering the volume bar over here. And usually if you're below 25 to 30 dB, it's going to be okay for you to listen the voice also. Reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for desktop. The fifth one is the best. Super easy video control, animations. And by using the slider over here, you have a little bit more fine control than instead of just using the volume bar down here. All right, I really like this choice. Let's go to the final step, which is adding a little bit of color to the video. And as you saw in the color grading lesson, there are two ways of doing it. The first one is just clicking on the clip itself and changing the colors in the adjustment panel over here. Or you can come to the adjustments here on the left and just add a custom adjustment. And this is going to create this adjustment layer that we can bring over here to the beginning and stretch it out until the end, and use one of the videos as an example to how it's gonna look in the end. So let's say this one, for example, and I'm just gonna bring in a little bit more contrast. I'm gonna lower the highlights a little bit so that the lights in the back don't call that much attention. I'm gonna bring up the shadows just a tiny bit, and maybe add just a little bit of vignetting. If you go to the left, you add white. If you go to the right, you add a little bit of black. Just a tiny touch like this. And I think all the rest looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna change anything else. And this is with and without. Very subtle change, gives an extra touch. All right, if you're ready, let's watch the final version. 5 reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for desktop. The fifth one is the best. Super easy video control, animations, positioning, zooming, using sliders or directly on the preview. Timeline control, you see everything you got. Super easy to cut, reposition, change, all organized by type of media in layers. Effects and transitions are super fast to use in preview, and there are infinite options. Stabilization, noise reduction, proxies, all fancy features from pro expensive software. Which takes us to the fifth reason, it is completely free. There are some pro features, but they are more advanced and most people won't need it. So come here, let me tell you not one, but 5 reasons why you should be editing with CapCut for desktop. And that's it. I hope you liked that. I can't wait to see what you create also with these videos or on your own. And in the next lesson, we're gonna learn how to export this video or any other using CapCut, so that you have a final product in your hands to be able to share.